In the year 2168, Earth had finally found peace. But peace was not born of triumph. It was born of exhaustion. The scars of climate collapse, the ashes of resource wars, the long, bitter struggle to survive humanity endured, but only just. And then, the stars spoke back. Do not contact humanity. They are not ready. Their chaos will spread. Across the galaxy, the decree of the Concord echoed. A coalition of ancient species watching us, judging us. To them, humanity was dangerous, volatile, unworthy of recognition. But on Titan, beneath Saturn's pale rings and orange skies, one voice refused silence. Dr. Elara Myles, a linguist, a xenologist, born in the crowded arcologies of New Cascadia, raised by a mother who worked endless shifts to keep the desalination pumps alive. Every day of her childhood was a reminder. Survival was earned, not given. Elara grew with two obsessions: to know what lay beyond Earth and to prove that humanity was more than its mistakes. In the Titan settlement, life was fragile. Biospheres straining against methane winds. Children learning by flickering lights. Engineers scraping tools together to patch oxygen leaks. Every breath rationed. Every triumph small, yet precious. Kieran, an engineer, speaks over the hiss of oxygen pumps. You never stop working, Elara. Don't you ever get tired? Elara looks up, weary but determined. I don't have the luxury of being tired, Kieran. Not when the galaxy thinks we don't deserve to speak. And then, it came, late one night, a whisper through static, a signal faint, alien, never meant for human ears. Elara froze as her monitors lit with forbidden words. Words of dismissal, words of control. Humanity was being watched, monitored, contained. She should have reported it. She should have obeyed, but in her heart, she already knew. Silence was a prison. Elara leaned closer to the screen. Lines of alien script unfolded, glowing against the dark. Her pulse quickened as the translation finalized, word by word. An indictment against her people. Humanity remains volatile. A containment risk. Their spread must be monitored. Their voice must remain unheard. She pressed a hand to her mouth, eyes stinging with anger. Not fear, but fury. After everything humanity had endured, after clawing their way back from the brink, they were still considered less than worthy. Kieran stood in the doorway, his voice low, cautious. Elara, don't. If you respond, you'll bring them here. She looked up at him, fire in her eyes. Maybe that's exactly what we need. The next day, the settlement gathered in the communal hall, a space carved from steel and necessity, where warmth was rare and words carried weight. Every face was tense, every voice sharp with fear or frustration. A miner slammed his calloused hand on the table. My family came here to escape wars. Don't make us a target. A teacher, her voice trembling but determined, replied, our children deserve to grow up heard, not hidden. A medic, weary with grief, added, we've been punished long enough for the past. And then Elara rose. Her voice cut through the noise, steady, unyielding. Silence is surrender. If we don't speak, we've already lost. The hall fell silent. The choice weighed on them all. But for Elara, the decision was already made. She returned to her quarters that night. The walls hummed with recycled air. The monitors blinked, waiting. Her fingers hovered over the console. Fear gnawed at her, but deeper than fear was resolve. We are here, we are alive, and we will not be ignored. The words, simple but defiant, left her lips and filled the silence of Titan's night. And then she sent them, a transmission carried into the void, a signal the Concord could not ignore. Across the settlement, alarms lit red. Consoles shrieked with warnings. Above Titan's clouds, far beyond Saturn's rings, something stirred. The message had been heard. The moment Elara's signal left Titan, the settlement shook with fear. Alarms blared. Lights flickered. Life support monitors screamed warnings. She's brought death to our doorstep. One settler shouted. Another cried out, we'll be erased. Do you understand what you've done? Elara stood in the storm of voices, her stomach twisting with doubt. Had she doomed them all? Had her need to be heard placed every man, woman, and child on Tiptine in a path of destruction? She whispered to herself, words she wasn't sure she believed. I just wanted us to matter. But while Titan trembled, across the scattered outposts of humanity, her words began to spread like wildfire. On Mars, a farmer crouched in the red dust, his daughter by his side. Together they whispered Elara's words into the dry Martian wind. We are here. We are alive, and we will not be ignored. In Earth's orbit, council chambers erupted in chaos. Some demanded Elara be silenced, condemned. Others' eyes, wet with hope, argued her defiance was the first true act of unity humanity had ever known. And in the asteroid belt, a solitary miner carved her message into the hull of his ship, a promise written in steel against the void. For the first time in centuries, scattered voices across worlds spoke as one. Not from command, not from fear, but from resonance, from defiance, from a hunger to be seen. But humanity was not alone in hearing her voice. The Concord listened too. From beyond the orbit of Saturn, a shadow descended, a vessel vast and alien, its hull etched with light, its form unfamiliar and terrifying. It drifted silently toward Titan, blotting stars from the settler's sky. In the control dome, faces went pale. Breath caught in throats. The message had been answered. Not with words, but with presence. Elara stood at the viewport, her reflection trembling in the glass. She whispered so only she could hear. They came. In Titan's docking bay, the air was thick with dread. The alien vessel loomed above the settlement, its shadow stretching across the icy plains. Every settler knew, if the Concord wished, they could end them in an instant. Lights flashed as the airlock cycled, a hiss of pressure release, and then the envoy appeared, tall, radiant, framed in silver light. Its voice did not echo in sound, but in thought, cold, measured, merciless. You were warned. Humanity is not ready. Your chaos endangers the stars. This defiance will not be tolerated. Elara stepped forward. Her knees trembled. Her breath shook. But her eyes did not waver. We are flawed. We are messy. We argue. We fight. But we endure, and endurance is worth recognition. She raised her chin, her voice breaking but unyielding. We will not vanish into silence. Not anymore. For a long moment, there was nothing. The alien envoy stood motionless, The settlers held their breath. Every heartbeat felt like the last. Then, without a word, the envoy turned, the vessel withdrew, and the shadow lifted from Titan's sky. The settlers wept not from victory, but from relief. For the first time the galaxy had listened. For the first time, humanity was seen. Elara stood beneath Saturn's rings, her visor reflecting the pale light. She knew this was not the end. The Concord would watch. Perhaps they would return. Perhaps they would test humanity again. But something fundamental had changed. A voice once silenced had spoken, and the stars had heard. The galaxy said, "Do not contact." Humanity refused, and in that refusal, they became something greater. They became seen.